Today, we're talking about the life and legacy of André Beteille, who was an absolute giant of Indian sociology. His recent passing really does mark the end of an era, and in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly why.
So let's start with the man himself, André Beteille. He was born in 1934, just before India's independence, and he passed away in 2023. His lifespan almost perfectly mirrors the journey of modern India, and his entire life's work was really about trying to make sense of that huge transformation. After his death, this sentiment kept coming up in the tributes, and it really frames everything we're going to talk about today. So, what exactly was this particular way of scholarship? And what does it even mean for teaching to be a vocation? Well, that's what we're here to figure out.
To really get a grip on the significance of his life, we first have to understand the impact of his death.
André Beteille passed away recently in New Delhi. He was 91 years old. Think about that. A long life that let him not just witness, but meticulously document nearly a whole century of India's social evolution.
And almost immediately, this incredible wave of tributes came flooding in from the people who knew him best, his colleagues, and maybe most importantly, his legions of former students. And that tells you something, right? His impact wasn't just some abstract academic thing. It was deeply, deeply personal.
So, where did this incredible influence even come from? To understand that, we have to go back to the beginning, to his foundational fieldwork, the research that honestly, truly revolutionized how we study Indian society.
Our story really kicks off right here, in a village called Sripuram in Tamil Nadu. For Beteille, this wasn't just some dot on a map. No, this was his living laboratory. This was the place where his most powerful ideas would take root and grow.
So what was he studying? Well, it's this core concept called the agrarian social structure. He showed that things like caste and class weren't just ideas floating around. They were literally woven into the fabric of daily life, into who owned land, who had the money, and who really held the power.
All of this incredible research led to his landmark book, Caste, Class, and Power. And for generations of sociology students, this book was a revelation. It was their introduction to just how complex Indian society is. It showed them that these forces were structural and that they were constantly changing, especially in a modernizing India.
But what he studied is only half the story. The how he did it is, I think, just as important. So this section is all about the principles that made his work so unique and so respected.
And this just nails it. This was his approach boiled down to 3 clear steps. First, get out of the university and into the field. Second, observe what's actually going on, but do it with serious academic rigor. And third, and this is so crucial, write about it with clarity, no confusing academic jargon. He made these really complex ideas accessible to everyone.
And he just kept applying that same approach again and again. His body of work, including these major books, shows a career built on that same foundation: consistent, rigorous, clear-eyed scholarship. These books are still fundamental to university courses today.
But for all of his amazing scholarly achievements, a lot of people believe his most profound legacy wasn't in the books he wrote, but actually in the students he shaped.
This quote from a former colleague just says it all. For Beteille, teaching wasn't just about giving a lecture. It was an ethical commitment. It was this deep, profound sense of responsibility he felt for the young minds he was mentoring.
And here's the view from a former student. Think about this for a second. No matter what was going on, strikes, holidays, whatever, his teaching schedule was sacred. It was inviolate. He was always there, he was always accessible, and he was always ready to talk. That kind of dedication is so rare, and it leaves a mark that lasts a lifetime.
So, let's circle back to that question we started with. With the passing of a mind like André Beteille, what is it exactly that we've lost?
His legacy is really twofold, right? As a scholar, he gave us a model of rigorous, clear, field-based research that literally changed a discipline. But as a teacher, he gave his students a model of mentorship, dedication, and ethics. And the two things were completely connected. His clarity as a writer came from his dedication as a teacher. And that brings us to our final thought for today. André Beteille treated teaching not as a job, but as a vocation, a true calling. In a world where education is under so many different pressures, his life leaves us with a really vital question. Is that idea of teaching as a calling now a thing of the past? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us.